Why, hello there. A Knife's Tale here. I hope you're having a good day. I'm bringing you a summary of a knife that I've done a review on prior to this. In fact, I brought this knife out because I recently did a review on its sibling from the same brand. I don't know if that review is up yet, but the full review will be linked down below, should you care to see the whole thing. This is the Protech Godfather. This is the Way of Knife EDC Gearhouse, which is a website exclusive variant of this Godfather, in this sort of, they call it midnight blue. It's blue-purple, it really is. It's quite nice, but as in true Protech fashion, it's kind of a chalky finish, which, while nice, does tend to wear a little faster. I believe I said it in my other review that I do think that there are better finishes that they could possibly be doing on. It also collects stuff pretty quickly. I do think there's maybe better options for finishing on some of these aluminum handled models, which most... Ah, that was me. I forgot how long it was. That was me. This is going great. Alright, so what are we looking at? We're looking at a pretty big knife. The Godfather has a 4-inch, just shy of 4-inch blade, which 9¼ overall. This knife is in 154 cm and aluminum. It is Protech USA made. You can see their brand logo right there. You can see the steel right there, 154 cm. It is a side opening automatic push button with Protech's rather snappy action. As you can see, this is a knife that really is sort of like style over function. I'm gotta be honest here. It is styled after an old school stiletto. It's a modern take of a stiletto. Again, that time it just caught my shirt, but that I really gotta not be having my body this close to the table or up against the table, especially when I'm handling large knives. And this is a large knife. It's not extra large or anything like that, but it is large. There is a smaller version called the Godson. And yeah, I mean, I said it, this is sort of form over function. It is quite thick behind the edge. It doesn't have a high grind, but they're going for, the bayonet thin stiletto look. So, does it cut? Yeah, it's got a good edge on it. They put good edges on them. Pretty high looking edge, actually, too. Or maybe it's just because it's thick. I don't know. Probably one or the other. Probably both, actually. It also has, this one has a, I think this is a smoky DLC, it's called, or something like that. And as you can see, it shows, as most DLCs, prints and stuff like that. But it's definitely smoky. Smoky gray DLC with this quite, I will admit, the handle is quite, there's some depth and the coloring is very nice. So, I like that. It's got an abalone push button. I am a bit of a little bit of a fan of abalone. It is perfectly centered. There's no play. It, in true Protech fashion, has kind of a terrible clip. I mean, it functions mostly, kind of, but the clip, to be fair on quite a few USA-made companies, at least historically, has often been a bit of a afterthought or something that's just been sort of slapped on there. Is this titanium clip? I don't know. Honestly, no. It is not. Okay. That's fine. Did that just leave a mark on the clip? Seriously? Yeah, that left the first snail trail on this clip. And again, that's the problem with the finish and the clips and stuff like that sometimes Protech uses. They mark. They mark up. Very annoying. I mean, what they do, the quality is there. It's a good knife. There are a few little tweaks I would like. Maybe some... And better plunge grinds, because this plunge basically nearly hits the edge. It goes right to the edge. They give you a choil, but they don't give you room around the choil. You can cut in, because, I mean, it stops up there, but... Honestly, you probably don't want to be using this knife as your daily driver, considering a few sharpenings in and you're pushing... Well, you might as well be pushing this side of the thing through there. It's gonna get quite thick quite fast. There's not a metric ton of life on this knife. Again, style, form factor over function on this particular model. But at least they're intentional with it, right? It's not trying to be the most utilitarian blade ever in existence. It's decently done. You get a little bit of a wider edge bevel at the tip here. I really wish they'd do something and update their clips that fit more of the modern sort of sleek styling of their knives. They didn't. The hardware is... Oh, shit. Yeah, this is Hex hardware, isn't it? I forgot to mention that on my last review. Though, I will say, I believe... Yeah, T8's work on this thing, so... It's both, I guess? It's hexagonal bit hardware, but... Except for that, the clip is for some reason T6. Why? I don't know. I don't know. It's light, it's snappy, it's stylized, it's definitely more sort of like a almost self-defense tactical kind of thing. I mean, let's be honest. But at the same time, it's not even that. It's just doing its own thing. And I like it for that, and I appreciate it for that, but it's definitely not for everyone. Protech's pricing is relatively decent for USA made. Arguably one of the better ones for USA made, outside of some of them like Hogue and Kershaw that tend to be sort of the top of that, but also not necessarily the fit and finish kings. Let's be honest there. And also Kershaw is like, I think Kershaw is owned by a Japanese company that they still make enough of their knives in the USA to be considered a USA made knife, blah, 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 blah. Protech, as far as I know, is 100%. Maybe they get their screws and stuff like that, but more or less in-house USA sort of stuff. A very large percentage, at the very least. Clamshell construction. These things can vary from, I think... Did the Godfathers go as low as 200? Probably not. 220-ish, probably, for the very plain basic models. Up to, I think this was 280, if I remember correctly. Up to, the sky's the limit, because Protech likes to doing variants and all kinds of crazy things and materials on their knives. It's a cool knife. It's both complicated and straightforward at the same time. It's doing things that a lot of other knives aren't doing, even if they're to its own detriment. Alright. But what's here is pretty good. Pretty well done, pretty darn well executed. And, it's a nice piece to have, right? I wanted an interesting variant of this knife, because normally you just get black aluminum and satin or blade. I mean, or occasionally you see the ones with rose gold or the sapphire DLC, which are tempting. But this is just a little bit different. And that's a dog. One thing I will say that I do note that is interesting. It almost feels like in hand like a swayback. You don't really think about it until you notice it. you have this straight handle here, but if you actually look, while this is if you're looking at this as straight, this is technically at a cant. So it rises. So it feels a little bit interesting in hand, kind of more swaybacky, even though it's technically definitely not. It is something that I've noticed, and something that I think worth mentioning, because I don't think most people are probably going to think about that and the way it feels or something like that. Or at least I've never seen anyone talk about it. But, yeah. The Protech Godfather's doing its own thing for fun. It's cool. It's USA made. It's nice. It's pretty darn well done. I think Protech does a pretty good job on most things, particularly for their usually more reasonable price points. So that's going to end the summary here. Just a quick sort of overview. Look at this. Look at it. This thingamajigger. Limited lifetime warranty. That's interesting. Our commitment to you doesn't end with the knife. We can guarantee them for life, which means we stand leaf front. But there's a limited lifetime warranty, which you can stop and pause and read that if you. No, you can't read that. That goes deep in there. You'd need a flashlight for that. I'm sure it's on their website. And their Instagram's right here. But come with a little case. Also something I didn't show out in the last review is the case that typically comes with them. Though this is not normally the case. It's usually... It's got a little band, but yeah, this one, of course, has a special little band. Yeah. I like what Protech's doing, but I don't think it's necessarily for everyone, especially if your knife laws say you can't carry automatics. I mean, most places, I think, in the U.S. have mostly done away with the no automatic laws. There are still some places that have ridiculous laws, but most people can probably carry this now. Which is nice, but you really have to decide whether it's for you or not. So I'm going to end things here. And say see you later. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'm out. Yeah.